All right, Scott, I saw your latest video on your playing of Rêverie, and I think you've made a lot of progress since the last video that I saw. And so congrats on that. I'm pleased to see that you are working in many of the suggestions that I've made, so it's a lot to take on board. But I think overall the piece hangs better together now. I would also say that the tempo that you've adopted lets that melody flow the way Debussy would want it to. So that's some really great work. What I'm going to focus on in this video is a few things that I think are kind of all the way through the piece. Number one, hesitations. Number two, having your right hand be quiet when the left hand is speaking. And then number three, there are a lot of pedaling issues all the way through. So I want to focus on those three for this particular session. So the first thing in terms of the hesitation, we'll all hesitate when we are still learning the piece. You move from one thing to the next and you have to think, what's coming next? Oh, right. And then you move on to it and you eventually smooth those out. But there's some that I think that you've baked in and maybe you're trying to do it in an expressive way, but I would say I don't think that they're appropriate for the music. So the first one comes early and it's around measure 9. Pause. And you pause again. Again. Now, sounds fine, it's just not what Debussy wrote. So what I would encourage you to do for this in other places, maybe play with a metronome, because as that thing ticks along, it's going to point out to you places where the meter's moving on and you haven't. Not to get you playing robotically, that's not the point. But I want you to be aware of where these hesitations are coming. So in that part, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and so on. You'll notice I did do just a slight hesitation before getting up to this higher note. So there are places where just a little tug on the tempo is okay. But generally speaking, you've baked in some pretty big ones, and so I think you should work on those. So that's the first thing I'm going to suggest. Next thing, the right hand being quiet while the left hand is speaking. So this middle section, you really improved. So your left hand is singing out more than it was before, and I think you can do even more. But the key is the right hand. The right hand loves to be the prima donna opera singer that says, oh, let me sing out. But in this case, the right hand has to be quiet. And so I would... just a little angelic murmur going on while the left hand is singing that beautiful cello line. So practice them separately like that, because otherwise the right hand is drowning the left hand out a little bit and killing the mood. That's the other thing. It's marked pianissimo. That's a vibe. This is a pianissimo vibe. So the right hand has to do that job. The other place that it happens is at the very end in that really tricky passage where the melody comes back and it's shared between the hands. This part. And if you listen to your right hand, it's quite loud. And so just a little sotto voce. Little points of light in the sky. That's all we want to hear, and then just let that melody do its thing. So the same notes, he goes up, she comes down. I don't know why I just described he and she to the left and right hands, but anyway, that's, you decide. But that's the second thing that I would work on. See, again, you made some really good progress on that, and you can do even more, and consistently throughout the piece. Last thing is pedaling. So a lot of people will ask, what's one thing I could do to improve my piano playing? And pretty much for everybody at any level, the pedaling is something that they could really work on. And so I will encourage you to go back and listen to your piece and really listen to it critically about where am I getting muddy sounds. And I'm going to share a couple with you. And I'm going to start around measure 13. I mentioned, I think, in a previous video that you change the pedal as the harmony changes. So, change, this is D minor, change, 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 change. So you could hear at the end of that passage, those changes became more frequently. They were every 2 beats. I don't think you were. There was a little bit more bleed going on there. So that's an example. An even more extreme example is where it changes every beat. And so I will draw your attention to measure 57. Change, 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 change. And if we think about that passage, why are we even pedaling it? Do we need to? I could actually play it passively with no pedal. Not bad, it's not horrible. It's just a little dry, and the melody's not quite as connected and legato as if I pedal it. Change, 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 change. So that's why we want the pedal, but if what it does is it gives us bleed. Doesn't work. Same thing over the page. This would be measure 63. Change, 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 change. And so on. So you can see there are going to be places where there's quite a bit of pedal change required, and that's okay. By the way, now that we're here, I think there is a bit of a misread in your playing in measure 65 to 68. I think you're playing G sharps. I think you're playing this. So look at this, they're G naturals. It really changes the whole tone of the thing. So those are my suggestions for you. Give these things a shot. The pedaling is tough. So here I've made it sound so simple. Oh, do you just change more frequently? This is going to be a long-term skill that you develop. So don't get discouraged if you can't bring about the results that you're looking for right away. And even the greatest pianists are always working on little subtle changes to their pedaling, and they'd be quite challenging. So all the best with that. Hope this helps.